Hello, everyone. My name is Wendy Myers. Thank you so much for joining me on the Live to 110 podcast. You can find me at live to110.com and this video podcast on YouTube at Wendy Live to 110 or Wendy Myers and on the corresponding blog post on the website. Today, we're talking to Dr. Anthony Youn. He's a plastic surgeon in Detroit, and he's written a new book called The Age Fix, and he's going to give us some simple solutions to reduce aging, to slow down the aging process, and tips that you can use to look 10 years younger. And I've been employing a lot of these tips he has in the book for a while, and hopefully I'm enjoying the benefits. But a lot of really simple things that you can do to slow down the aging process that he's going to talk about today on the podcast. Please keep in mind that this podcast is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease or health condition and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Even though Dr. Anthony is a doctor, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only, but please consult your healthcare practitioner before engaging in anything that we talk about today on the show. About our guest, Dr. Anthony Youn is a board-certified plastic surgeon, award-winning author, and anti-aging expert. Dr. Youn is considered, one of the nation's best-known experts in looking younger with or without surgery. He's been named one of the top plastic surgeons in the United States by Harper's Bazaar, U.S. News and World Report, AskMen.com, Castle Connolly, and many others. He's got a year-long waiting list to get an appointment with him. Dr. Youn's new television special, The Age Fix, begins airing on PBS in June 2016. He's a regular guest on The Rachel Ray Show, The Doctors, The Dr. Oz Show, and has been featured on many other shows. Dr. Youn is the author of In Stitches, a critically acclaimed memoir about becoming a doctor. And his new book, The Age Fix, was published in April 2015 and is considered a definitive anti-aging Bible for anyone who wants to look and be younger. And he's also a regular contributor to CNN.com and has written articles for MSNBC.com, NBC News, CBS News, and USA Today. He's very prolific. Youn Plastic Surgery is now the premier plastic surgery practice in the Metro Detroit area, with patients flying in from all over the country and the world to see Dr. Youn. Dr. Youn, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me on, Wendy.
Well, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, I'm a board-certified plastic surgeon. I've been in private practice in the Metro Detroit area for about 12 years, and I practice primarily cosmetic medicine, but I also do some reconstructive surgery as well. And I'm the author of a new book called The Age Fix. A leading plastic surgeon reveals how to really look 10 years younger.
So tell us a little bit about The Age Fix.
So The Age Fix basically is kind of a culmination of being in private practice for 12 years. I do a lot of surgery, but as a surgeon, I understand that surgery is dangerous. People have complications. People can actually die from surgery. And after doing this for 12 years in private practice, 17 years overall, I've really determined that I believe everybody can look 10 years younger without going under the knife. And there's so many things that we can do short of surgery that can turn back the years, that can make our skin look nicer and give us the appearance that maybe we want without having surgery. And that's what the idea behind writing The Age Fix is, how anybody can read this book, they can follow the guidelines and the recommendations that I give and look 10 years younger. And it does not entail actually going to see a doctor and going under the knife.
Yes. So in the book, you talk about, how to eat a healthy diet. So how does what you eat affect, what you look like? How does it determine the age that you appear?
Yeah, I think what you eat really does determine to a large extent how quickly you age and how your skin looks. And so in the book, I kind of outline the Age Fix diet, which are foods to eat, foods to avoid, to slow down that aging process. And as I'm sure a lot of your viewers, your listeners have heard, sugar is not only horrible for our health, it's horrible for weight gain, but it's also horrible for our skin. So those same things that make sugar bad for our health and contribute to heart disease, and other types of medical issues can also contribute to aging of our skin by creating inflammation and by the process of glycation.
Yes. Can you explain that a little bit? Because I know the process of glycation, it will wear out your collagen, so your skin just isn't
Yeah.
as elastic, where your skin just doesn't hold up as well when you're eating a lot of sugar.
Yeah, so it's kind of two main things. So sugar itself, when you that are rich in sugar, and when people think about sugar, they think about sugary snacks, sugary drinks, desserts. But a lot of the sugar that we get in our diet, in that Western diet, is from refined carbohydrates. So people don't even think about it as sugar, like white rice, white bread, pasta. You can get sugar spikes in your bloodstream from the sugar, and this leads to insulin spikes. And these sugar and insulin spikes can lead to chronic inflammation with time. So that's one way that sugar can really age your body, is by inflammation. The second thing, and you mentioned, is glycation. And glycation, it sounds complicated, but it's actually not. Put very simply, the sugar molecules will actually bond to the collagen and the elastin in our skin and cause that collagen, the building blocks of our skin, to become deformed, to fray, and to be stiff. And this can cause premature aging of our skin.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that really led me to stop eating sugar was the fear of getting older, as I know it destroys your skin's elasticity. And so you mentioned that everyone should do four things minimum to slow down aging. What are those four things?
Yeah, and those four things basically, when people think about what to do with their skin, what products to apply, there are four things that I recommend to my patients that you have to do. And if you do these four things, you're going to be way ahead of everybody else. And in the book, I outline exactly how to do that. But the first thing is you want to apply a sunscreen to your face every morning, at least an SPF 30. SPF 30 will block about 97% of the sun's rays. And that's broad spectrum. So it covers both UVB rays, which create sunburns, but UVA rays, which cause premature aging and predispose to skin cancer. Mm-hmm. So the first thing is the sunscreen. Second thing is to apply an antioxidant cream every night. So the most popular antioxidant cream is vitamin C. You can get those pretty inexpensively at the drugstore for those people who are on kind of a tight budget. Just make sure that if you do buy a vitamin C serum, that vitamin C is in a bottle or a tube that does not let in light, because sunlight can oxidize vitamin C and be less effective. The third thing is you want to exfoliate at least 2 to 3 times. Not more than that. If you overexfoliate, it can cause your skin to have irritation. But you exfoliate your skin 2 to 3 times per week, once a week if you have sensitive skin. And then the fourth thing is to apply an anti-aging cream every night. And the one I usually recommend is one with retinol. And a retinol-based anti-aging cream you can buy at most drugstores that usually aren't that expensive. Most kind of big name skincare companies like Olay, Neutrogena, they have retinol-based creams that usually aren't too expensive.
Yeah. And any other ones?
So those are kind of the big four that I would recommend to take care of your skin. One other thing that's just as important is you have to wash your face at night. So our skin will rejuvenate itself at night, and if you wear makeup, if you're female, if you wear makeup and you don't wash that makeup off at night, it clogs your pores. Plus you have all the day's pollution and the grime and the sweat from the day. You have to wash that off at night, because then it'll allow your skin to breathe and to rejuvenate while you sleep.
Yeah, that's been my number one rule is I have to wash, since I was 13 years old, I have to wash my face every night before I go to bed. And I put all my little creams on and whatnot. I think it's really preserved my skin because I'm 43. I think I've managed to preserve my skin as a result. So you focus on non-surgical treatments in your book, and so what cosmetic issues have surgery as the only option?
Yeah, and just like you said, the non-surgical options. I think that the vast majority of beauty and aging problems that we have can be solved non-surgically, and really every year there are new treatments that treat things that previously only surgery could do. That being said, I do tell my patients there are certain issues that I don't think we'll ever have a non-surgical option for. The most common is excess skin, and that could be excess skin in the neck, it could be excess skin on the breasts, it could be excess skin hanging from the tummy or the legs or the arms. Excuse me. That excess skin, there's no way that eating a certain food make that go away. There's no way that applying a cream will do it. Even laser treatments won't do it. That necessitates surgery, and typically all those types of lifting procedures do create scars. And sometimes those scars are quite lengthy. But I don't think we'll ever have a substitute for, let's say, a tummy tuck, or even for a facelift when there's a lot of loose skin.
Mm-hmm. So you give solutions to, every single beauty and aging problem in the book, the things that don't require surgery. So can you give us some solutions that, to issues that people have that, aren't, the most common and that don't require surgery?
Yeah, I mean, one very simple issue that a lot of people suffer from is bad breath. And when we think about bad breath, we think, oh, you maybe have cavities or maybe it's gum disease. Well, actually, the vast majority of people who suffer from bad breath, it's due to bacteria that live way on the back of your tongue. And these bacteria create sulfur, a sulfur kind of type of a smell. And the best way to treat that is to actually get rid of that bacteria. Now, unfortunately, a toothbrush can't get that far. You're going to gag on that toothbrush. But they actually do make specialized tongue scrapers that you can buy online, that you put way back, and you can actually scrape that bacteria off. Now, if you combine that with a chlorine dioxide rinse, in about 97% of people who have chronic bad breath, you can actually get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we hope they take your advice.
A very simple solution to a problem that can really vex people and create some major problems for them.
Yeah, I love my tongue scraper. I use it every single night. And my daughter loves to grab mine and try to use it. I'm like, no, you have to have your own. She has her own tongue scraper.
Oh, does she really?
Yeah. And so you give solutions for even yellowing teeth. A lot of different problems are in the book that you give solutions to.
Yeah, so yellowing teeth, I mean, I'm not a dentist, and I'm sure that there are cosmetic dentists that have a lot more solutions than I. But, you probably have a lot of viewers who have used different whitening toothpastes and have found that it just doesn't seem to improve the yellowness of their teeth. So there is something very simple. If you just get Crest 3D White, and you think, maybe this doesn't work, but it's less than $5, and within 5 days, you can reduce up to 80% of surface stains. You combine that with the mouthwash, and you can get even better results with that. You give it a couple of weeks. And, I mean, I've ditched my whitening trays altogether for that, believe it or not.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time and money and pain using the inserts that you get for your dentist and using the hydrogen peroxide whitening gels. It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and they're expensive, and that's a great thing. I've tried a lot of inexpensive little treatments that I've tried to share with people, like that, where you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars or even $50, and you can see a nice change with it.
You also give solutions for male hair loss. That's a really, really big one.
Yeah, now male hair loss is definitely a problem that is very common. And there's a lot of solutions. Now, with hair loss, really the solution needs to be targeted to the cause. So the first thing when we think about hair loss is stress. And so see what type of stress you have in your life. Is that kind of the cause of why you're losing hair? You also want to look at your diet. And some people who have dietary deficiencies can lose hair as well. But if those are not issues for you and the hair loss is something different, then you can try Rogaine. And even women, there's women's Rogaine as well. That really should be the first line actual treatment. For men, Propecia as well can help with hair loss. And there are these new treatments called low light lasers. They're completely non-invasive, and they're kind of like a laser pointer. They don't burn or anything like that. But there are actually baseball caps that have lasers inside these baseball caps, and you can put them on your head, and while you're sitting there watching TV, they will infuse your scalp with these laser treatments, and we believe that they actually cause the hairs to go into a growth phase. So it can be very, very effective, and a lot of scientific studies have proven actually that low-light laser treatments really help with thinning hair.
What is that treatment specifically called?
They're called low-light lasers, and you probably heard of the most famous one, which is potentially the least effective, but the laser comb. There's that comb with the laser that you put through your hair. The company actually has even a better model that is actually like a band. that you can put. And there's another company, like I said, that has a baseball cap with the lasers inside of them as well.
Okay, great, great. Yeah, and so that's great. You have all these different solutions for, for beauty issues that don't require surgical treatment. You've got all kinds of tips. But, why did you write the Age Fix?
Well, I wrote the Age Fix because I do believe, I've got a waiting list right now of about a year for people to spend basically a half hour, 45 minutes to get my opinion. And I do believe that, to try to, I think, reach the masses to give advice that can help them to look younger. When I think about it, the vast majority of people, they don't want to have surgery, but almost everybody would love to look younger or at least slow that aging process down. So instead of them waiting for a 45-minute consultation for months or weeks for plastic surgeons, to be able to actually sit down and just to read a book that's entertaining, that literally contains simple solutions from things that you can do at home to actual products. This is one of the few books, I guess, that's been written from a plastic surgeon or a dermatologist that's not hawking my own products. I don't own these products. I recommend products from Neutrogena, from Olay, from all these other brands, because I really think that it's important for people to make their own decision and to have a wide range of options. Mm-hmm. So I wrote it because I think it's important for people to be able to hopefully get the appearance that they want without having to spend a ton of money or go under the knife.
And is your book available right now?
Yeah, so it's available on Amazon. It's available at bookstores across the country. My website is dryoun.com, dryoun.com, and we have special free gifts for people who purchase a book and go to the website and sign up.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Youn. And I have one question I like to ask all of my guests. What do you think is the most pressing health issue in the world today?
I think the most pressing health issue in the world today is hunger. And I think here in the United States, we're so fortunate that, the vast majority of us don't necessarily go hungry. We don't know real hunger like people in other parts of the world, to the point where we throw so much of our food away and we take it for granted, that if there was one thing that I would say is the biggest issue, it would be that.
Yeah. Yeah, my daughter's school, they're having a big food drive, and I was actually cleaning up my cabinet this morning to give, to hungry families. But fortunately, it's a lot of unhealthy food that I would never eat, that people have brought over. I'm like, oh, thanks. And I'm going to...
It's all the non-perishable stuff that unfortunately the food banks take.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the non-perishable stuff is usually not quite as good as the perishable foods.
Yes, but it's certainly better than nothing, for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Sure. Well, Dr. Youn, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And again, tell us where the listeners can find you.
They can find me on my website, dryoun.com, dryoun.com. And if they sign up, we have free gifts if you buy the book, The Age Fix. We'd love to hear from you.
Well, thank you so much. And can we find you on social media?
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter and Facebook. My Twitter handle is Dr. Youn, or TonyYounMD.com, or TonyYounMD, and my Facebook is Dr. Youn.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. And listeners, if you want to learn more about me, you can go to liveto110.com and learn about my healing and detox program, mineralpower.com. Thank you so much for listening to the Live to 110 podcast. A little bit, about yourself and your story.
Oh, yeah, I know that's kind of open-ended, but easy answer. A lot of people actually, I find, they find it hard to talk about themselves. And I think that they feel as though it's egotistical or that they're bragging. But I chose a different approach. I think it's important for us to celebrate our victories and for us to celebrate other people's victories too. I really think that a tiny percentage of the population really is able to celebrate with other people because they are happy about themselves, which is what we'll talk about today. But my past, I guess the biggest, how would I identify with myself as a kid? I started playing soccer when I was 4. I became obsessed with unicorns at that time, which is my spirit animal and helps me, connect with the playful side, the adolescent side of me that makes me, the innocent, young, loving girl that, when I'm becoming more of a powerhouse woman, I'm in my ego, I just pull out my little unicorn. It reminds me of, the sweet and divine and gentleness of myself. So I could, be the more of a woman, because we're being asked to be more manly, I guess. We have more manly roles. And that, for me, at the age of 4, I started playing soccer, and then I became a pro soccer player and got, scholarships to play soccer as well in my teenage years, and I traveled to play soccer in the Bundesliga in Germany. I played soccer, pro soccer in the United States, and so playing that role and being the defender, I was mama bear protecting my team. And so I became like this warrior, but then it was too much on the dominant, male side. That energy was so like, holding tight, aggressive. And so I kind of lost that feminine side of myself. And then when I was 22, I became a financial planner. So at an early age, I didn't really get to go out and do younger kid things. I became serious. I started my financial planning practice. 8 years later, I sold that, became a nutritionist. And now I'm a functional diagnostic nutritionist like you. And I like to help people get toxicity out of their life, be it their toxic thoughts or, toxic chemicals or toxic food, toxic people, which is so important too, toxic pastime, things that aren't serving them. Just really in general, getting the crap out of our lives that plagues us and pulls us down and that robs us of our happiness. So the story of me is how this project that we're going to talk about came to be. So that's kind of me in a nutshell, and I'm 37 years old now, and I guess you could say I'm living my dream.
Yeah, well, let's talk about your project. You have an upcoming project called Habits to Harbor Happiness. Mm-hmm. And you chose to talk about depression. I think it's really important because I suffered from depression for many, many years. And you always wonder, why? Why am I depressed? Especially when your life seems to be going really well, which at one point in my life was amazing. And I thought, why